Hundreds of years ago, sailors crossing rough seas noticed something strange. When barrels of fish oil or whale oil leaked onto the ocean, the water nearby sometimes appeared smoother than the surrounding waves. Not completely calm, storms were still storms, but the surface looked different enough for experienced sailors to notice it again and again. At first, this was simply one of those observations passed from sailor to sailor. Nobody fully understood why it happened, but the mystery slowly attracted scientific curiosity because it revealed something very unusual about oil and water. Why would a thin layer of oil stay floating on top of water instead of disappearing into it? After all, many liquids mix perfectly with water. Tea spreads through it instantly. Alcohol blends easily. Sugar dissolves so completely that it seems to vanish. But oil always separates again. Even if you shake it hard, stir it, or mix it violently for a few seconds, eventually the same thing happens. The oil rises back up and forms a separate layer. To understand why, scientists eventually had to look far beyond what human eyes could see, into the hidden world of molecules. Everything around you is made of tiny particles called molecules, and the way a substance behaves depends on how its molecules interact with one another. Water molecules are actually very unusual. Each water molecule has a tiny electrical imbalance. One side becomes slightly positive, while the other side becomes slightly negative. Scientists call this property polarity. Because opposite charges attract, water molecules constantly pull toward each other like microscopic magnets. That attraction is incredibly important because it gives water many of its unique properties. It's why water forms droplets instead of spreading infinitely thin. It's why raindrops beat up on leaves or windows, and it's even why some insects can walk across water without sinking. The water molecules are constantly trying to stay connected. Oil molecules, however, are built differently. They are non-polar, meaning they don't have these charged ends. So water molecules are not strongly attracted to them at all. Instead of surrounding and mixing with the oil, water molecules continue bonding tightly with other water molecules. At the same time, oil molecules gather together with other oil molecules. As a result, the two substances separate naturally, and you can actually see this invisible molecular behavior in everyday life all around you. Think about rain falling on a freshly waxed car. Instead of spreading smoothly across the surface, the water gathers into tiny rounded droplets. That happens because the water molecules are holding onto each other more strongly than they're holding onto the waxy surface beneath them. Or think about trying to wash greasy hands using only water. The oil doesn't disappear properly. The greasy feeling often remains no matter how much water you use. That's because water molecules simply don't interact well with oil molecules. But the moment soap is added, something changes. Soap molecules are special because one end of the molecule is attracted to water, while the other end is attracted to oil. In other words, soap can connect with both worlds at the same time. The oil gets surrounded by soap molecules and finally becomes removable with water. The same chemistry explains mayonnaise, milk, creams, and salad dressings. When you shake salad dressing, the oil temporarily breaks into tiny droplets throughout the liquid. For a short time, it looks mixed. But leave the bottle untouched for a few minutes, and the layers slowly separate again. Not simply because oil is lighter than water, though that also affects where it ends up, but because at the molecular level, water still prefers bonding with water, while oil prefers bonding with oil. Even the calming effect sailors observed centuries ago connects to this behavior. When oil spreads across the surface of water, it forms an extremely thin layer that changes how water molecules move at the surface. This can reduce tiny ripples and disturbances, making parts of the water appear smoother. In the 1700s, Benjamin Franklin became interested in this phenomenon and performed experiments by pouring small amounts of oil onto ponds in London. He observed how quickly the oil spread across the surface and altered the movement of the water. At the time, scientists still didn't fully understand molecules the way we do today. But observations like these slowly helped build the foundation of modern chemistry. And that's what makes this everyday phenomenon so fascinating. If you enjoyed uncovering the science behind this everyday mystery, subscribe to Curiosity Compass for more fascinating explanations about the world around us.